You're listening to the Movie of the Week podcast, a podcast about movies which we review every week, or until they shut us down. Welcome to another episode of the Movie of the Week podcast. I'm Jim.
This is Drew.
And this is Jacob.
Sit back and relax as we talk about this week's movie,
Knives Out.
Shink 2019.
A detective investigates the death of...
Hang on, this is the wrong show. Let's back up a minute.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast Plus. Yes, that's right. We are reviewing we are returning to the Cellcast Plus, which only our patrons up to this point have actually heard. You're welcome. So yeah, you're not all patrons now, but you might think you are. Anyway, joining me tonight is a man who he got a really weird puzzle box in the mail, but he couldn't figure out how to open it, so he smashed it with a hammer. Welcome, Jacob.
Well, you do what you got to do, right? And plus,
I guess.
I didn't have time to figure that thing out. I had a mystery to solve. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who simply, oh, good night. He had to invite all of our friends to a Mystery Island murder mystery. Welcome, Drew.
I don't even know where the money from that came from. 'Cause I certainly can't afford it on my salary.
Maybe it came from the patrons. Who knows?
Hey, look, how did we get a hold of that? What do you mean you don't know where the money came from?
Oh,
As long as it didn't come from Monster Island, I think we're okay.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we
No,
don't need any of that mess.
no,
again
Winters. Thank you
from
very much.
Cameron Winters. Anyway, also joining us tonight is an old friend of ours who was our co-host or primary host. Were we the co-host and he was the main host? I don't actually remember how that went. But anyway, our previous host on our previous podcast life, Jim.
Hi, gentlemen, and Jacob. Good to see you. Talk to you. You know,
Loving this
it's
podcast.
been a minute. So nice to be here.
I did have something written, so I wanted to say it real fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just want to do this. It's like, why? Thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who. Wait, is that a concealed weapon underneath that majestic beard? Welcome, Jim Heron.
Yeah, I mean, I've got something I'm sure under there if I work. Yeah, oh yeah, I got a pen.
Of course,
There it went.
man. Go figure.
No, it's in the floor.
Now it's in the floor.
Yeah, now it's on the floor.
Yeah.
So I do want to go ahead and say, for those of you listening, if you hear rain or thunder, that's because it's rain and thundering outside right now. There may even be a tornado. We don't know.
We might duck and
There's been
cover.
tornadoes going all over the place today.
Welcome
So-
to Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah, welcome to Texas.
and the Midwest in general.
Yeah.
And Jim,
Now,
and
Central.
Jim is actually sitting in old Studio A right now.
yes, because I didn't have a way to have 3 people in Studio B.
Yeah.
But
It's-
anyway,
It's fancy quarantine. They just don't want me in the same room. I understand.
that's what we're social.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what we're doing. We're social distancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Get that
only-
majestic beard away from us.
That's it. My
We
beard
don't
would
have
corrupt
magic
everything.
We don't have bronze magic COVID cure.
Yeah.
Except none of us have COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You
I
never know.
I have no idea.
Thanks, COVID.
Everyone has
Anyway.
COVID.
Are y'all ready to jump into the spoiler-free section of this?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
Jim, since you're our guest, why don't you start off?
Well, okay, so you know, this was a really cool movie I wanted to watch a lot because you know, I loved the original. Knives Out is so great. You know, it's one of the best things Rian Johnson's done, in my opinion. And you know, it had a stellar cast for the first one, and this one again, we get a really good story. Everything works pretty well, and again, it's got a great cast. You know, so. Definitely a must watch if you haven't seen it yet. And it's on Netflix. So, you know, I mean, if you still pay for Netflix, which sure is overpriced, but it's available. You don't have to go out and buy it or rent it, you know.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is actually my second viewing because I did see it like the weekend it came out, which was Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I remember the first time watching it. I like Knives Out. It was twisty and turny so much that I honestly at some points had no idea where we were going and was happy with that. I know I was a little confused on the timetable the first time through, but at the same time, this is just a great movie, and it's even better the second time when you know what's going to happen.
Jacob, agreed. So yes, this is my first time watching this film. We did review it on Movie of the Week podcast where us three did
Knives Out.
Knives Out, yeah.
Yeah, you can go check that out wherever you view podcasts, I think, still, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's still out.
It's still there. I haven't
looking at it right now. So
I keep paying for it, so it's still there.
Yeah, so go check out that get episode, give that old show some love. So I thoroughly enjoyed this film tremendously. There was so much mystery, intrigue, and so much nice little twists and turns. So like, it's like, where is this movie going? Because your first like 15, 20 minutes of this film, it's just like, what is going on? This is great. Oh my gosh. And then it's just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And it's just these great, like, again, twists and turns that have just like so much dynamic to it. And it's like, aha, I gotcha kind of things. And it's like, it's a great film. I love this film to death.
Yeah.
Be like, it's Knives Out, but with a little more of a twist to the ribs.
Yeah. Ryan Johnson writes a good mystery film.
He does.
Yeah.
You know.
He knows how to do that very well.
Oh yeah, and again, like I said previously, it got such a great cast, and anything Catherine Hahn is in, I'm in for. So have to watch it.
I just realized I don't have that thing on the soundboard anymore. Oh well, because she was in something we did recently, and I played the Agatha all along bit.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, yes.
Another thing that might be put in post, but anyway,
there we go.
Yeah.
So y'all ready to jump into the full spoiler-filled review for this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Glass Onion. Listener discretion is advised. Glass Onion was written and directed by Ryan Johnson. And do you remember the movie Looper?
I remember watching a little bit of it, yes.
He directed that too.
It doesn't surprise me.
No. It makes sense to me. I remember enjoying that one. Getting into the cast, we got Daniel Craig playing Benoit Blanc. And of course, he was James Bond from Casino Royale to No Time to Die.
Shaken, not stirred.
Among other things. Edward Norton played Miles Braun, and he was Bruce Banner in The Incredible Hulk. Janelle Monáe played Cassandra Andy Brand and Helen Brand. And do you remember when we reviewed Ugly Dolls?
Yes.
Do you remember the character of Mandy? I think was the quote unquote normal human doll that hung out with the Ugly Dolls. That had the that was imperfect because she wore glasses.
That's right. Yeah,
I think that was Mandy. I could be wrong because there's a lot of that could have been a number of those dolls.
Okay.
But anyway, Catherine Hahn plays Clara DeBella, and of course she was Agatha Harkness in WandaVision.
And Doc Ock.
Oh yes, she's Doc Ock. That's what it was because we.
Oh yeah,
rewind
that's
episode.
right. Thank you.
She does everything. She's amazing.
Yes, agreed.
She's a great actress. Leslie Odom Jr. played Lionel Toussaint, and he was Dr. Arbuthnot in Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes, which ironically was our first Movie of the Week podcast episode.
Yes, that's right. It was.
Kate Hudson plays Birdie J, and she was Mei Mei in Kung Fu Panda.
Oh gosh, yes.
Dave Bautista played Duke Cody, and he was Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
And a wrestler.
And knockoff. Oh shoot, what is that guy? What's that James Bond character's name with the hat with the ring in it, metal ring in it?
Odd Job.
Odd Job, yeah, he was knockoff Odd Job in Spectre.
Yeah.
I think because I say knockoff because they never said he was Odd Job, but I suspect he was.
It felt very much like they were going that direction with the character.
Yeah. Jessica Henwick played Peg, and she played Jess Tester in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Madeline Klein played Whiskey, and she was Tina in Stranger Things. And Noah Segan played Daryl, and he played Trooper Wagner in Knives Out.
I'm not here.
No, he's not here. Kingdom Hearts connections. You want to make a guess, Jacob? There's only one.
Oh.
It stands out like a sore thumb if you think about it.
Catherine Hahn.
No.
Who?
Angela Lansbury.
Oh, yeah.
She played Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the
Yes. Oh
Beast
my
and
gosh.
reprised that role for Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, what do we got in info and stuff?
So info and stuff. IMDb is a 7.2 out of 10, available to watch on Netflix if you have Netflix. Produced by T Street Productions, distributed by, again, Netflix. Release date was September 10th, 2022 at TUF. November.
That's the Toronto International Film Festival.
Thank you. November 23rd for the United States and Netflix.
That November 23rd, though, was only in theaters. It did not
Yes.
come out to Netflix itself until Christmas weekend.
That is true. That is so true.
And they only played
Oh,
it
I read that
for-
wrong. I'm sorry.
They
I read
only
a month
played
later.
it for Thanksgiving weekend, and the closest place to us that played it was in Dallas,
Yes. Which is
annoying. 'Cause
I would have loved to see this
I
movie
would
in
have
theaters.
seen that in a
Yes,
heartbeat,
In a heartbeat.
but not enough to drive 2 hours
Eh.
and then paid 3 times the price I would have here.
Ugh. So box office. It had estimated budget of $40 million. Its opening weekend for the United States and Canada was $9.4 million on November 27th. Its U.S. gross was $13.3 million. And same for domestic, for international.
Now, because this is Netflix, that's only the box office, does not count
Yeah.
what Netflix charged, because Netflix doesn't share their stats,
No, they don't.
which is annoying.
Yes, it is.
But
very,
anyway.
very annoying. All right, so Netflix is reportedly considered a new release model for films like Glass Onion, which would give the film a 45-day window in theaters before its release on the streaming platform. It was selected by 3 of the largest chains in the United States: AMC Theaters, Regional Theaters, and Cinemark. Later, the Netflix would have to pre-extend the deal, had a pre-extending deal with. The film would see a limited 1-week run, billed as a sneak peek release from November 23rd to the 29th of that year.
Mhm.
Roughly about 600 theaters in the largest markets around the United States, as well as other international markets, marking the first time a Netflix distributed film would be shown in all 3 major theater chains in the United States. Glass Onion premiered at the, like Drew said before, the Toronto International Film Festival on September 10th, 2022. It was also screened at the Philadelphia Film Festival that October. Close to the BFI London Film Festival on October 26th, and the Film Festival 919 on October 30th, 2022. The screening, a screening at the Miami International Film Festival, as it is opening night on November 3rd, 2023, or 2022. I'm sorry. It was released on Netflix, like we said before, on December 23rd, 2022. Over its first 10 days of digital release, the film logged in 209.5 million hours viewed worldwide. So, home release. There's no current home release of this film yet from Netflix, but Ryan Johnson, who is passionate about physical media, has talked with Netflix. But Ryan has the desire to do a commentary for those who are interested in listening to a commentary over Glass Onion.
Well,
So,
yeah.
there's no Netflix right now is not interested in doing a release, which is a crying shame.
Because none of the streaming services are really interested,
Yeah,
except for, of all places, Paramount Plus.
that
Yeah.
is true.
Well, that's because they do Star Trek, and there's so many
Yeah,
Star
they
Trek.
know
shows.
they'll know they'll make tons of money off Star Trek.
Yes, all the
Mhm.
Trekkies. So
I
yes,
say, looking at my season 2 Blu-ray of
Yes.
Lower Decks.
yes,
Such a good show.
yes, agreed.
Mhm.
All right, so that is how I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary. During the COVID-19 pandemic in May 2020, Miles Braun, the billionaire co-founder of technology company Alpha, hosts a murder mystery game at the Glass Onion, his mansion on a private island in Greece. He invites 5 friends: Alpha head scientist Lionel Toussaint, Connecticut Governor Claire DeBella, controversial fashion designer and model Birdie J, men's rights streamer Duke Cody, and ousted Alpha co-founder Cassandra Andy Brandt. The 5 friends are delivered a wooden puzzle box to decipher to find the invitation inside. The 5 travel to Miles' island along with Birdie's assistant Peg and Duke's girlfriend Whiskey. Famous detective Benoit Blanc joins them, although Miles says he did not invite Blanc. He allows Blanc to stay, assuming another guest sent him an invitation as a joke. Before dinner, Miles shows off his valuable glass sculptures, as well as the Mona Lisa, which he has on loan from the Louvre. Miles also reveals that the mansion is powered by Clear, a hydrogen-based alternative fuel that Alpha will launch imminently, despite Lionel and Claire's concerns that it is untested and dangerous. Blanc solves Miles' murder mystery game immediately and privately warns Miles that his guests have motives to kill him. After an argument with the rest of the group, Andy storms off. Duke dies after drinking from Miles' glass, and the panicked group suspects Andy of attempting to poison Miles. The police are summoned but will not arrive until morning. After the group discovers Duke's pistol is missing, the power goes out and everyone splits up. In the dark, Blanc finds Andy, but an unseen assailant shoots her. Blanc gathers the group and announces that he has solved Andy's murder. An extended flashback then shows that Andy actually died a week earlier, apparently by suicide. Her twin sister, Helen, hired Blanc to investigate. At Alpha, Andy has halted Clear's development because of its dangerous properties, so Miles has had her removed as CEO. His case was aided by their friends perjuring themselves to testify that Miles had single-handedly sketched out the plan for Alpha on a napkin years before. The napkin was actually Andy's work, shortly before her death. She emailed the group a photo showing the original napkin still in her possession. Helen suspects that someone in the group killed Andy and stole the napkin to protect Miles. With Andy's death not yet public knowledge, Blanc persuaded Helen to pose as Andy at Miles' party and help him investigate. Helen helps Blanc discover motives for Miles' friends to protect Miles from Andy. Lionel and Claire have staked their reputations on Clear. Miles is financially rescuing Birdie from the fallout of ignorantly employing sweatshops, and Duke hopes Miles will give him a show on Alpha News. Helen discovers that each of Miles' friends visited Andy's home on the day she died. She searches the guest rooms but does not find the napkin. When Helen is shot, Andy's journal in her jacket pocket stops the bullet. Blanc fakes her death so that she can search Miles' office. Blanc deduces that Miles committed both murders. He killed Andy after learning she had the napkin, but Duke saw him leaving her house in his car. During the party, Duke saw a news report of Andy's death and, realizing that Miles was responsible, attempted to blackmail him. This prompted Miles to poison him with pineapple juice, to which Duke was deathly allergic, and to take Duke's pistol, with which he shot Helen. Helen locates Andy's napkin in Miles' office and reveals her identity to the group. However, Miles burns the napkin, eliminating the evidence, and his friends refuse to testify against him. Blanc tells Helen that he has done all he can and goes outside. In a cathartic rage, Helen destroys Miles' glass sculptures. Miles' friends watch her and eventually join in. Helen lights a bonfire and throws in a shard of Clear. Blanc had slipped her, causing the hazardous mural to explode, destroying the mansion and the Mona Lisa. Realizing the painting's destruction will reveal that Clear is dangerous and ruin Miles, the group decides to testify against him. At the beach, Helen and Blanc watch as the police boats arrive. Getting into the trivia for this, one of the paintings in Miles Braun's living room is of Edward Norton's head on Brad Pitt's body from Fight Club, 1999.
Yeah.
A movie still I have not seen yet.
I hadn't either.
Have you seen it, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
A long time ago. But yeah, it's good. It's weird, but it's good.
The problem is I've already had the ending spoiled, so
yeah.
But then who hasn't had that ending spoiled?
I guess that happens.
Around anyone. But anyway.
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson has stated that he briefly considered a running joke of having Daniel Craig play Benoit Blanc with a different accent each film without any explanation at all, but decided against it.
Good call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that would have just been odd.
Yeah.
Dame Angela Lansbury did not know how to play Among Us. Ryan Johnson said she was very patient in letting me describe the rules of Among Us up to a point, at which point she just said, you know what? Just tell me what the lines are. I'll trust you.
That's great.
When Netflix bought the rights to the film, a third movie also began development, again with Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig returning. In an interview with The Atlantic, director Ryan Johnson expressed his frustration over having to add a Knives Out mystery to the film's title for marketing purposes, as he wanted every film to be self-contained, except for Daniel Craig's appearance. He says, honestly, I'm pissed off that we have a Knives Out mystery in the title, you know? I just want it to be called Glass Onion. He adds, I get it, and I want everyone who liked the first movie to know that this is the next in the series, but also the whole appeal to me is that it's a new novel off the shelf every time. However, the subtitle is only used in the film's marketing. In the film itself, the title card just simply says Glass Onion. This is the final... Sorry?
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, they could have just put Benoit Blanc mystery.
See, that's my thought. That makes much more sense than saying...
It's kind of like Agatha Christie's, books with
Poirot.
With Poirot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
this is the final film of Stephen Sondheim and Dame Angela Lansbury, who appear briefly in a Zoom video call during Benoit's first scene. Ryan Johnson is a fan of Sondheim's film The Last of Sheila, 1973, another whodunit about a multimillionaire who invites his friends to a party to play parlor games. Diane Cannon's character in that film was an influence on Kate Hudson's character, Birdie. Daniel Craig worked with a dialect coach to regain familiarity with Benoit Blanc's distinctive New Orleans accent. Miles says that his puzzle guy was mentored by Ricky Jay. Jay was supposed to be in Knives Out, but died before he could film his scenes. He was replaced by Emmett Walsh. However, a photo of Jay is seen briefly stuck to the fridge. Edward Norton's look in the flashback scene at the Glass Onion bar, when Andy introduces Miles to the group, was based on Tom Cruise's look in Magnolia in 1999. The title, Glass Onion, refers to the Beatles song from the White Album. The song is enigmatic, teasing various myths about the band by the band, specifically John Lennon, who wrote it, thus fitting as a mystery film's title. Knives Out was also titled after a song, specifically the song by Radiohead from their album Amnesiac. Several key moments and character insights, including who the killer is, really are shown in plain view throughout the movie, just as Blanc says at the end. In the first version of the events, when Birdie is talking about her relationship with Miles, her bag is seen jerking slightly from when Helen threw in the recorder. A moment later, a bit of Helen's dress fabric briefly flutters into view as she takes up the pose that makes it seem as if she's been there all along. The envelope that they are looking for is shown exactly where it is when a character is in the same place as it is in the Glass Onion room. Only nominally hidden, twice even in close-up. Helen holding up a notebook with a page literally spelling out who the killer is, later holding it up with X's next to all the names except one, meaning one thing to her and Blanc, but also reading as an underline of the previous time she held up the notebook where all the X's can be seen, meaning not them. Helen's straight-on approach to the puzzle box yielding the same result as solving it, only faster. Duke's mom being able to open it within minutes of its arrival, and Birdie decoding absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The captain straightforwardly describes the dock.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
A secret tryst occurring in the ground floor room next to the floor-to-ceiling window, which faces onto a public pathway. Shaking poplar trees broadcasting exactly when someone is eavesdropping from. The killer steals the gun, hides the gun with matching sound effect, poisons the drink, and switches the drink, all on screen and in real time.
Genius.
The killer has the stolen phone poking out of his too small pocket with the top visible and its outline pressing against the pocket's thin fabric. And last but not least, the glass onion itself, which is more accurately a dome or a globe because it has no layers because it is hollow. Appears to have layers, but you can see right through it.
Yeah, it's
which brings me to the end of my trivia. Jim, what's your first like for this film?
Well, I mean, obviously it's the cast. I mean, again, like I said, Catherine Hahn being in it is great. It's got everyone from Daniel Craig, the whole band, so to speak. So, as far as lights go, the cast, Daniel Craig, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom, who I think is an underrated actor. He's so good in everything I've seen him in. Kate Hudson's a classic. I don't know. I think she had kids and kind of stepped away a little bit for a while. Dave Bautista, while not an amazing actor, it fulfills the role he's in every time.
Yes.
He's always entertaining when he's on screen.
Yeah.
Some good
I mean,
yeah.
and again, I say not an amazing actor. I don't really know, but could be the roles he's put in, but he always does exactly what he needs to for the role. So he could be an amazing actor, and I'm not giving him enough credit because he's playing, the big dummy.
Well, in all defense, he's pretty much played very similar roles
Mhm.
since he really got into acting. So
Right. And we do see that with great actors a lot of times. So it's really hard to tell. But he does an adequate performance, and he really, his character is great for the movie. So in that way, I don't want to give him any knocks. I'm just he's very talented for and he does exactly what he's supposed to do. I really think as far as best performance out of the group is Janelle Monáe, though. I love her accent when she's playing Helen, and I feel like just the two characters are so different.
yes,
It's
agreed.
fantastic. I think she did. She was probably the best of the cast, but the cast is phenomenal. That's what I like.
I agree.
My first like is all of the foreshadowing at the beginning of this movie with the puzzle box and the game of Among Us, because that is essentially what this is a game of Among Us, just acted out. Because I mean, everyone is an imposter of sorts.
Yes.
And they all have all done like horrible things, but I mean, only one of them actually killed anybody. Killed two of them. And someone who was not the imposter did get killed. But so I mean, I love that. I also love the thing with the puzzle box where the puzzle could be easily solved as long as you did it right, but yet it seems complex because of how crazy it is, And of course, the idea of the glass onion being, it looks like it's complex and layered, except you can see the answer from the very beginning because it's clear. I love that. I love that imagery, and I love how greatly foreshadowed the movie is just from like the first half hour. And yeah, that's my first like is that.
My first like goes into the big twist that Helen is actually Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I did not see that coming, obviously, because there again, be like watching the film, and it's like, what's going on? And then you get this nice little, like, obviously Andy gets shot, and it's like, what in the world? And then it just, whoop, that nice little twist there, and it's like, oh, that is clever.
There's only one part in that that I caught only on the second time through.
Okay.
That actually gives that away moments before the actual reveal.
That is true.
And that's because Benoit calls her Helen right before she gets shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is true. I didn't catch. I was like, Helen. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
And then the nice.
And she's using her southern accent in that scene.
That is true.
Well, you do see it when they do the flashback.
Yeah.
Or when they show that the second
right,
scene.
That's after this point. That's after the reveal that she's actually Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this nice little reveal that be like, not everything's what it seems. And you have this where Helen discovers that her sister's been murdered, and she hires Blunk to discover who murdered her sister. And you get this whole different angle of the story, which in the first half of the story, you realize it's very vague of what's really going on behind the scenes. And then you get this, and it's just like, oh, okay. It turns everything around. It turns it like 190 and just gives you everything you need to know about the story. What's really going on.
Fill in all the gaps.
Filling every little gap is just genius writing to a T. And like the acting in this performance is phenomenal. There again, I am terrible with names, so I apologize. How do you pronounce her name? I apologize.
It's Janelle Monáe.
Monáe.
At least that's how I would pronounce it. It could be wrong, but that sounds right.
That sounds pretty close. I don't remember how I said it earlier, but
Janelle Monáe.
It looks like a Janelle Monáe.
Yeah. But Janelle Monáe did a fantastic job of playing both these characters, like Jim said, with the dueling accents, and just genius how she pulled that off. And just by like her performance as Andy and as Helen is just be like, once you realize what's going on, you see the difference of way she acts, the way she behaves,
the way she holds herself,
the way that like when she's actually playing Andy, it's a completely different person, different character. Her movements are different. So it's like someone who really studied how to do some, two different characters, like genius level kind of just performance. And there again, I have never heard of this actress before.
Yeah.
Except she's been on a movie we reviewed before.
Oh,
It was in Ugly Dolls.
that's right. Never mind. Well, I've never seen her in a movie. I've heard her.
Right.
I mean, she's in Hidden
Ugly Dolls is that
Figures.
good a movie.
True.
She's in Hidden Figures and Antebellum and some other big movies as well.
Okay.
Even
A lot
if you
of
haven't seen them.
Oscar bait type of movies, but maybe why I didn't see them. But
Yeah. I mean,
I still need to watch Hidden Places. I have it, but I keep hearing really good
Hidden
reviews
Figures.
of it.
yeah.
Hidden Figures. That's what I'm inside.
Oh yeah. And like you were saying, she does really good about keeping the character, except for the little places where she's not supposed to, or where they're showing that she is actually struggling. Like when she's on the boat and she's squeezing the rail, so you can, which isn't normal to the other character, or you kind of get that impression.
Yeah.
But they do a really good job of balancing all that out.
Mhm.
So,
and it's the nice little. They're giving you subtle hints to be like, okay, something's really going on behind the scenes. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
And there again, that nice little twist where Andy's shot, and then it's like, the diary saved her, and now it's be like, okay, this gives you time to do this, and this is like genius.
oh yeah,
And uses Jeremy Renner's hot sauce so that make it look like
Oh
Daniel
my
Craig
gosh.
is crying.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.
Well, and then that shot where he's splashed a bunch of it to make it look like her shirt's bloodied,
And
and she's laying there, pretending to be dead, and you see that drop slow.
Oh, that drop!
Oh my gosh.
The drop of doom.
Not gonna be good.
Oh yeah, that was scary.
Yes.
Pepper sauce in your nose is.
You knew they would get away with it because we'd already seen the scene from another angle.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're going, this is torture.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that is my first is the Helen Andy switch.
Mhm.
And that whole reverse of everything to understanding what's really going on with the story.
Right.
And it's so genius.
Yeah.
So
my second I guess is where we're at, is the ending. I mean, just the way it all worked out. I mean, sure, obviously she's not getting the justice she wants, but it's a very good second option. Basically ruin him, and he does get exactly what he wants. And I love how they tie that in. That his name is going to be remembered in the same, or be mentioned in the same sentence as the Mona Lisa is so perfect. It was such a great ending, and I love how everybody, the rest of the cast, slowly starts to go. Even before everything gets blown up, just they're all so frustrated with Edward Norton's character, Miles Braun, and all the stuff they've dealt with, because they're basically he's kind of running their lives so they can have all the things they want.
Yeah.
But that frustration of that lack of control and having to do the stuff they have no interest in doing because it forwards his goals, because they're basically lapdogs to him. So yeah, it's a very sweet moment, feeling wise, at the end when all of this happens and everything kind of turns around on him. And again, Janelle Monáe, her performance at the end is fantastic. Again, through the whole movie. So
my second is Kate Hudson's performance as Birdie J.
Oh jeez.
Because she is so delightfully ditzy.
Yes.
Yeah.
A woman so stupid she doesn't even realize that a sweatshop is not a place that makes sweatpants. But my favorite scene with her is when everyone else is coming to the realization that she is Helen is Andy's sister and not Andy.
Oh yeah.
And she is 5 minutes behind everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And she goes, oh, okay. It's like, you are an idiot. She's smart enough to have to hide a secret phone from her assistant.
Yes.
But
Yeah. I very much feel like she draws on her mother for this performance, Goldie Hawn.
Yes.
because it's a little more silly. It's very it feels very much more like her mom, and
agreed.
she does such a great job with it. And I think probably a little bit of that Almost Famous, which was like her big breakthrough movie. I do think she does a great job with it, pulling that character together.
Agreed.
Yeah. Jacob?
My second like. My second like would be Edward Norton's character of Miles Braun. As to paraphrase
Benoit?
blonde be like, you're an idiot.
It's just it's dumb.
Just plain Jane dumb.
The most original idea that you had for this tonight's murders, and you stole it from me.
Yeah.
But like his performance, Edward Norton's performance as Braun is, I'd be like, his facial expressions are just priceless. Like I'd be like, the point where it's like he realizes like oh crap, to paraphrasing what he's saying, he's like, be like, oh, I'm going to make this special speech, and then whoop, power goes out.
Yeah,
and it's just this like his character's motivation is be like, I'm trying to get as much as I can, and I'm not the brightest bulb in the world, but I'm smart enough to do it, but I don't have the intellect to do everything I need to and not completely branch things out. But it's this the guy who thinks he's got everything twisted up in a nice little bun, and it's so genius, but it's so stupid to the point where be like he's genius enough to destroy evidence, but he's not bright enough in order to realize that Helen has him over a rope.
Yeah,
with the clear, and it's just like when LeBlanc just like hands it to her, and I'm like, oh crap, that's gonna get good.
Yeah.
So incredibly genius, because like, be like, I really can't do anything. Be like, it's out of my hands. And it just hands her the clear. And it's just like, when he does that, it's like, what is gonna happen? And the whole point where Helen's destroying everything and then everybody gets involved, it's literally just sets up this beautiful ending of this film where his character is completely ruined, and like we said before, be like he's remembered in the same breath as the Mona Lisa,
which is all he wanted.
That's all he wanted, and he got it. And with the twist of his quote unquote friends be like turned on when they realize, hey, we're going to destroy the process. Why don't we just burn him? Allow him to burn further.
I just realized that Miles Braun technically had a Pyrrhic victory. He technically got what he wanted.
Yeah,
exactly. It was with everything else burning down around him.
That is true.
including the Mona Lisa.
That is true. Oh, it's like as an artist myself, when the Mona Lisa was burning itself, now granted, knowing it's a fake, it's not the real Mona Lisa, I was like, just watching it burn. It's just like,
you want to know more fun?
What's that?
They actually did the research enough to know that the Mona Lisa is not painted on canvas, but on wood, and it actually burns like wood.
It does burn like wood. That is clever. There again, genius level writing here. So, yeah, that's my second like.
Well, I mean, at least it's not like what was the movie? It's the one. It's where all the actors are out in the woods in a snowstorm. I can't remember the name of the movie. Someone will think of it later, but it's got Sam Jackson and a bunch of other people. I cannot think of it at the moment.
No.
So basically, in the movie, there's a guitar they get on loan from the Smithsonian, and then there's a scene where a guy smashes it, but they don't swap it out, and he smashes the real thing.
Yeah, he smashes the real
10. It's not 10 Angry Men. 10 something or 9 something. I think it's 10.
I know the movie you're talking about. I just don't remember the name.
Yes, it's a great movie.
I actually watched it,
but yeah, there's a scene in there where that happens. So luckily, they didn't actually borrow the Mona Lisa. Not that they could.
France would not have let them.
No, they're not that nice when it comes to things like that. So I guess it's time for my third like. And this one,
I forgot to mention we're only doing 2 likes.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh. If you have a third, you can go ahead and say it.
3 was too much almost to me, but I wrote down a couple. I was like, The honorable mentions should be obviously like
Honorable mentions are allowed.
The soundtrack is phenomenal. Anytime I get harpsichord in a movie, I'm happy. Plus, Beatles music is always good. The costumes were phenomenal. And again, Janelle Monáe was really so good. I really wanted to give her one, but I was going to say that Well Written was my third one, just because, again, basically the concept of the way that he does a mystery, Ryan Johnson, is basically like an onion, because he does like, oh, look, there's this mystery. Oh my God, who did this? And then next thing you know, he goes and shows you most of it. And you're like, okay, I know exactly what's going on. And then it's like, nope, I still really have no idea what's happening. So I really kind of love his way of doing it between Knives Out and this one. It's really good about using flashbacks as a tool that's not just, let me give you all the information that you should have known. He still has the breadcrumbs along the way. It's not just the flashbacks. It's a really good balance.
Yeah. So just more clarification, the movie we're thinking of is the Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight. Yes.
Hateful Eight. That's the movie.
I did see that and I didn't like it. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie.
I haven't seen it yet, but
Quentin Tarantino is so hit and miss for me.
Agreed.
But he does a lot of great stuff. It's just he also does a lot of stuff I'm not a fan of, and a lot of that's just based on preference. So it's
right.
Yeah. If I was to throw in a like a bonus, I would go with all the little cameos throughout this entire film with Ethan Hawke to Hugh Grant to obviously the late and great Angela Lansbury to like all these amazing actors who just show up
who probably needed something to do while they were on COVID leave.
Yeah.
That's true, but it's so well done. They just kind of throw these little cameos of really well-known actors and actresses. And it's just genius. And there again, it's Angela Lansbury's last performance, and it's it gives that little the top of the cake with this film. It's like, oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, I mean,
Yo-Yo Ma was in it. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Yo-Yo Ma.
Yeah, he was the one that told them about the music being the fugue. That's technically a
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
puzzle in and of
Birdie's
itself,
Party.
a musical puzzle.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Natasha Lyonne, who does like Poker Face. She was in Orange is the New Black. She's a really good actress. She was on during the when they were talking about the game. She was in that scene. But yeah, Hugh Grant, and it was really surprising to see him in such a minor role as well too, because I don't think I've ever seen him in anything that was minor. So,
right,
yeah.
Anyway, y'all ready for dislikes?
Yeah, let's go into dislikes.
Jim, go ahead and give us your first dislike.
Edward Norton. I'm just putting that as a blanket statement. I don't like Edward Norton.
Fair.
So
I mean,
yeah,
he's not a character you're supposed to like.
Well, no, I mean okay. So I think his acting was okay. I don't think it was a bad job, but I just don't like Edward Norton. So seeing him, plus Jeremy Renner, I don't like him as a person, but I did like his hot sauce. At least I thought it was a cool gimmick. Jeremy Renner is just a big, and you would have to bleep me to finish that sentence. So.
Gotcha.
But no, really, I mean, that was my first one, is really just Edward Norton. I think okay, hold on, let me make sure. I have three, so let me just take the other one away. Okay, so really that's a joke. So really my first dislike is I feel like, as much as they have such a great cast, I feel like they have so many great actors and actresses in this film that are underutilized. Like, I feel like I love Kathryn Hahn, and I think she is an amazing actress, but I feel like her role in this is not necessarily just that it's minor. I feel like I don't know if they just don't push them enough for a lot of the minor characters or a lot of the regular characters in the film. I feel like they don't get pushed to do more. Now, I don't know if that's just a personal opinion, but I feel like they have so much potential on screen that in many ways, I think the film could have been even better, as great as it is.
Yeah,
I agree. But at the same time, you're dealing with such a large cast of characters. And I understand each character had certain spotlights they were given. But it's just like when you're dealing with such a like tight script, but like you can't give like every character, actress, actor like the big shine that they need because they're such a great actor or actress.
Plus, her character in this was primarily a politician,
right?
And there wasn't much need for politics in the film.
True.
I mean, Scientist has the same, Toussaint has the same problem,
Mhm.
but at least he can go and say, yeah, this thing's horrible and it's going to destroy everything. So he's got a bit bigger part in the story. But
Mhm.
yeah, literally, it feels like Catherine Hahn's character's whole point is to, just start everything off, and she just keeps being there.
Right. And again, that's my point. I'm not saying that it's again everything's done pretty well. I feel like they have big names, and I think it's mainly because they're trying to say any of these great actors. Because classically, you would have a good actor, like on TV especially, you have a good actor come in and play the villain in a mystery show. So by throwing in 10 great actors or whatever, there's anybody could have done it, which I think is what they try to accomplish.
And see, that's the thing, is you want to actually have a large cast of people in a whodunit, so you're going, well, maybe this person had a reason for doing it. Maybe this person had a reason for doing it. I don't think they interwove her into that as well as either Toussaint or Birdie, because I think it was much more. I could much more easily see them actually being involved in the murders.
Oh, for sure.
And then of course Miles, but she just like that. It made, to quote her, it didn't make sense for her to be there, considering she was going to be there with a men's rights activist that would definitely get her in trouble right after you blow up the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and again,
breaking COVID rules.
And again, the movie's over 2 hours long, so again, they used all they could space wise. So it's kind of just a minor complaint, but that's really what it is. I'd love to read a book version.
Right. So, as much as I understand the extended flashback scene, I kind of hate that it means the movie starts over halfway through the movie.
True, very true.
I'm thinking you could have in my mind, a lot of the scenes at that point where we're seeing Helen overhearing stuff. I thought you could have interwove that into the main story and like cut that second half down a bit and just show her how she's getting in there and overhearing these things without actually overhearing some of this stuff for the first time. Granted, that may not have told the story as well. It's just, to some degree, for me, I hate that it feels like halfway through the movie it starts over.
Well, it is the exact same
part of the point, because it's referencing the fugue from the music box that had to be played on top of itself in order to get the full song.
Well, it's also the exact same gimmick from the first movie. They literally did that before.
Did small flashbacks intermittent with the main story. It didn't halfway and then restart.
When they reveal the how he died in the original, they you had already gone through, oh my gosh, he's dead, all these things are going on, and then it flashes back and he shows the death at that point. So it kind of has, again, it's kind of the way he weaves these mysteries. It's very much so, okay, big mystery, okay, let me show you almost everything. Now you know what's going on, but you really don't, and then they add a couple more.
The difference, though, in how he did it in Knives Out versus this is in Knives Out, it was investigation flashback. The flashbacks would always recontextualize everything you were seeing in the investigation, and sometimes recontextualize the stuff you were seeing in the flashbacks, because some of the flashbacks took place after were before the other ones. This one, it's half the movie. It feels like it's a straightforward story, and then we flash back to the beginning of the film and then see it from an entirely different angle.
Yeah.
Like I said, I get that's how I like the use of flashbacks. Just I feel like this half and half instead of little by little like the first one did. Granted, I don't want it to be told the same way.
Sure. I like that they changed it up when they did it.
So. Well, and that's how I like that part too. It's just I kind of wish it had been maybe done differently instead of it feeling like it started over halfway through.
Well, I mean, I would state,
I don't know a better way to word it than that, but
sure, I would state that it is in a very different way than most people do the flashback scenes, because usually you don't get such a big long flashback. Every once in a while this has been done. I'm not saying it hadn't, but it's not as common for you to get a quarter of the way through the movie or whatever and then to go all the way back to the beginning and literally go all the way back to where we were. So
now, I will say that is a nitpick on my part. the
for
most
sure.
part, I don't care. I'm looking for stuff to dislike about this film. So I'm gonna admit to you right now, both my dislikes are nitpicks. So
I feel that. I feel that.
Jacob.
All right, so mine would be Duke's gun, and this is again, this is a nitpick beyond belief. So I kept wondering because like Duke pulls out and shoots it. He's been in the pole, and I know it's more of a gag. The gun's a gag. I get it.
There's no way that thing would not have jammed by the end of that film.
Jammed or locked up or whatever. I understand. Like the gun itself is a gag. I get it. But at the same time, I'm thinking more like, okay, it's like, yeah, the gun fires. And then he sticks it in the
his holster.
He sticks it in his holster. He swims with it. He fires it off. The gun is stuck again in water at some point, and it's just like I'm like, this gun would not fire at all. No. Unless it was extremely modified. It's not going to fire.
And good night. How much ammunition did he bring?
Yeah.
Even
the
if
right
they're all
amount,
blanks, just to make noise. I mean, you still have to put something in there.
Well, I mean, I will say, like,
a little slightly irritating, but I understand why that. There's just, it was irritating.
They have magazines that come with some pistols that hold 15 rounds.
Yeah, that is true.
I get that, and he didn't shoot more than I think 10 shots throughout the entire film.
No.
But you get kind of the feeling he just will randomly go out and just shoot his gun for no good reason, just because he's a man.
Well, you know, it is very Dave Bautista is Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, that is true. That is so true. So here's another question. Just trying to gear again. I've only watched the film once already. So do we ever see Duke's gun again after it's seen in the flashback where Braun hides it? Do we see the gun ever again?
After he shoots Helen,
he just drops it.
Chronologically, he drops it on the ground and nobody ever goes back and picks it up.
Yeah, because it's behind that glass in that section.
Yeah, he throws it in a glass. But at the same time, be like, this gun is so pivotal in so much of the story.
Yeah, it's literally the smoking gun.
It's a smoking gun. You think they would have brought it back in some capacity throughout the film.
Well, there's no need to
because there's going to be an investigation.
True.
Yeah. Well, there's no need to because Duke is dead. And so they don't need to go find the gun because obviously it's his. And then by the time we get to the point that everybody's gathered together and all the information shows up, we know who did it. I mean, it gets there really quick. And once we know, they don't need the gun. You know, it wouldn't help them anyway because no one in the room has a gun. So that if had Norton's character Braun brought the gun with him, that would have changed the dynamic up. But hunting
because the stream froze.
Yeah. Say that again. What?
You back up because the stream froze?
Okay. Where?
You were talking about the gun.
Okay. So basically, there's no need to get the gun because, again, by the time, it's shot, we already have Duke dead. And Braun, once they all gather back in the room, it's really quick before it gets into the whole, once we know Braun has done it and all of that, because
I agree.
Right.
So, I mean, there's not a lot of need for it. Had Braun brought the gun with him, it would have dramatically changed the movie, obviously, because then he could have started shooting people. But I don't think there was any need to go back for it. And no one else knew where it was.
The only other thing I can think of is maybe it might have been put away for safekeeping because the killer's fingerprints would have had to have been on it, which would have been Braun's. But how do you do that where it makes sense in the story perspective?
Well, yeah, because there's
where it is, and it just never comes back up in the movie.
Yeah, because they have no evidence to prove that he did anything wrong.
Yeah,
yeah,
literally no evidence,
especially since the one he shot didn't die.
Yeah,
so or that time anyway.
Fair.
Yeah,
right. Anyway, Jim, what's your second dislike?
Let's see. I think it's Benoit Blanc. And again, this is nitpicky. I agree very much. Otherwise, I missed it in theater and I'm sad about that. But really, I feel like there's a little too much silliness with the character at times, I feel like. And I don't know if that's just, I don't know why, but it felt like it was a little bit too much at times for Benoit Blanc. I mean, I get he's weird. He has his things, but I felt like they made him a little silly I did like a lot of the stuff he did. I liked when he was explaining how everything happened like normal. It was very good, but I felt like he was just a little too silly at times. And I think that's
I
it.
have a defense if you're curious. My
Go ahead.
defense is that Benoit Blanc had been cooped up in a bathtub for 2 months.
Sure.
That is true.
And was excited for getting to actually get out and solve a mystery, a murder mystery. And he may have just been too much of a kid in a toy store kind of a thing.
Yeah. And that's probably true. Like I said, I just felt like it was a little too much. I got that as an idea. I got that he was excited. Like literally when he explains the whole murder mystery game right away, you know it's because he's just super excited. However, he also has an ulterior motive. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I got that part, but I felt like he was just a little too silly. And the accent is a little off. I feel like at times a little weird, but Daniel Craig does a great job of it.
I'll admit his accent is not as good as it was in the first film.
Yes.
My second dislike, and this is definitely a nitpick, is the hourly dong. That is the most annoying sound I think I've ever heard in a movie.
Did you not watch The Dark Crystal? I'm just saying.
I watched The Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
This is
The scree is worse than that.
It didn't just. We reviewed The Dark Crystal. I didn't find the scree that annoying.
It even became a sound clip for a time.
Chamberlain's.
Yes.
I literally tried to watch that movie as an adult, and the scree, their noises got me out of it. I was like, nope.
Oh my gosh.
I'm done.
Yeah, but no, that sound of when you least expect it, the dong.
Yeah.
It's like, even if you paid a lot of money for that, you'd shut it off after a while.
A little bit.
And excluding the midnight 10 minutes of darkness.
Yes.
There is absolutely no point to it. And I mean, they could have done that with a clock or one dong. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I agree. I felt it was too much. It was unnecessary.
Yeah. But plus, can you imagine being asleep on that island at 3:00 in the morning and get woke up by a dong? Like, really?
But it does give you the indication, like the hourly what's going on, because you're dealing with they're on that island for like what, 8 hours? 8, 9 hours? About 9 to 12 hours. So it gives you more indication like how many hours they've been on the island. They're great. You don't hear it like all 12 hours.
No, but it's just like, of all the things you could have used for a chime, I would have been much more up for just throwing in the I don't know, the Law and Order gong noise over this.
Dong dong.
Yeah, that, or the sound effect from that movie Inception, the bong. That would have been better than this weird guy going dong with a gong behind him.
Yeah, I mean, like a classic gong would have been better.
Yeah, just a gong.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. That because that's an eclectic.
I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt doing the voice of the dong.
It is.
Is he really?
Because it's like, quote, his name in the script in the.
Oh, it does.
Dong.
I saw him on the IMDb page, and I'm like, what did he even do? I don't remember him being in it, and I didn't read the name on it, and it's literally hourly dong.
Hourly dong. It's like he came in for 5 minutes. He did that over Skype.
Oh yeah, easy.
Probably.
He literally phoned it in.
I can just see someone, Mr. Levy, we need you to come to the sound studio to record a dong noise.
That we're going to use over and over again.
I wonder how many takes it took him.
I'll be good.
Because he's only got to do it once. He's only got to get one good take.
Yeah.
I assume. Or they could have made him record each one individually for the variants. I didn't notice, so I don't know.
No, it's the same sound effect, but I could see them saying, okay, try it this way, but in a different style. Now do it this way in another style.
Yes.
30 different versions of dong.
It's like I am Groot.
Well, except those are all different.
Yeah, they got to be different. They got inflections. I don't think there's inflections in
there's
the sound
no
of the
inflection
dong.
on the hourly dong.
That is true. That is true. But it's saying the same thing over and over and over again.
I have to keep telling myself, keep it family friendly, guys. I'm just saying that.
Believe me, that thought crossed my head too. Jacob?
Oh, shut the dong up.
Yes.
What is your second dislike, sir?
Okay, so my second dislike would be it's nitpick. Give us a freaking physical media movie part of this movie, please. Oh my gosh. Like I bought Knives Out for the review for the previous show, and it's just like, again, I'd be like, I know I'm a physical media guy. I know Drew's a physical media guy to an extent.
Yes.
I know you're a physical media guy. I've seen your movie shelf.
Yeah,
like it's that thing that's like when you love physical media, it's like you don't have to go online and find it, but it's just right there. It's physical. And the fact that like Netflix they've been in negotiation with Johnson, but they're not going to do anything with it. Just give us the Blu-ray. That's all we want.
As someone who's been waiting for like 4 years for them to continue releasing the seasons of Archer, you just don't understand how rough it can get. So I used to buy every season of Archer when it came out and binge watch the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Now I have to watch it on Hulu with commercials if I want to watch it. So I haven't for like the last 3 or 4 seasons. I'm waiting on the physical copy, and they haven't announced when they're going to start releasing them again, or if they're going to.
Yeah,
it makes me sad.
Sucks.
Yeah,
because I have half of them already on DVD.
All right. So we have anything else before we jump into ratings?
Okay. So there is a fantastic line in this movie that I had to jot down the moment I heard it. And Benoit Blanc is talking to Birdie when she's talking about how she's just going to say the hard truth. And he says it's a dangerous thing to mistake speaking without thought for speaking the truth. And that is such a great quote.
It is.
It needs to be on billboards. It needs to be everywhere, because so many people think they're just a truth person and they just don't think first. You know?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Can you send me that quote, please?
Yeah, I'll send it. I'll post it in the chat or something if that helps.
I appreciate that.
Or is it easier for me to text it to you?
Just text it to me.
Okay, I'll do that later.
Would be great.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right.
Awesome. So why don't we go ahead and get into our ratings? Jim, what are you rating this on a 5-star scale? Because our Cellcast Plus episodes are going to be on the 5-star scale because it's different.
Do we get half and quarter stars? Oh, I froze up.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can do half stars.
Yeah, half stars. That's half stars. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I would go ahead and do quarter stars because that would equal the 20-point scale, so it's easily calculable.
Fair.
Okay, so I'm going to give it 4.25 stars. Do you want me to explain why now, or
go ahead?
Okay, I think it's a great movie. I watched it. I watched Knives Out the night before last. I watched it last night just to make sure it was fresh. I don't think it beats Knives Out. I think Knives Out is a great movie, and I think it's a little better. But they're both so good. Again, the cast is amazing. I literally can't imagine it being much better. Again, like I said, as a nitpick, maybe they could have utilized people, but the movie would have had to been 3 or 4 hours, to get there. I think Janelle Monáe's performance is Oscar worthy, and I really think it was just such a great. I think everybody, even Edward Norton, who I don't like, I think he did a great job with this. I think the writing is phenomenal. I like the way they layer everything. Again, it fits with the whole theme of the movie, but it was all there from the beginning. You just had to be looking in the right spots. It's not that deep, but the way they put it all together with that mystery is really cool. Again, Rian Johnson is fantastic at this, even if you don't like a Star Wars film. Definitely don't just avoid him, because some of this stuff is his work with Knives Out and Glass Onion are amazing. And again, 4.25 stars. I don't want to give it too much because I feel like it's got little faults in there, but 4.25. If it wasn't that, it'd be 4.5. So
right. I'm giving it 4.5 actually, because the things I have against it are very much nitpicks. It's not a perfect film. It's just it's hard to really say outside of those nitpicks what really to mark against it, other than Knives Out is a better movie. So yeah, 4.5 stars.
For me, also, it's gonna be 4.5 stars. It's a genius level, like writing, directing story that gets you hooked, and it is a beautiful sequel to Knives Out. Be like, yes, it does have its flaws. Be like, there are nitpicks to the film, and be like, so it is like again genius writing when it comes to mystery and solving the whole thing. But yeah, 4.5 stars. It's definitely go watch it if you have Netflix. It's genius. And give us a freaking physical copy. Thank you very much.
All righty.
Jacob's angry.
I can tell. Next week, we're not actually having an episode because it's Easter.
Yes.
But the week after that, we are going to be coming back with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs as our next movie. So keep an eye out for that. Yes, we are going back to the first real animated film.
Ooh, this is going to be fun.
Especially since I don't think I've ever actually seen the original film.
What? Misa say what?
In my defense, it is a Disney princess film.
Agreed.
Not exactly
Indeed.
the top of my to-watch list.
Yeah, agreed.
Jacob, you're an artist.
As an animation nerd, I probably should watch it.
Yeah.
So that I at least can say I watched the very first full.
It does have dwarves
film.
in it.
And it's got tons of Kingdom Hearts connections. But
There you go. There's your reasoning.
I just hadn't gotten around to it. It is a movie I'm putting on the list. So
Yeah.
there is that.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play us the intermission bumpers. And on the other side, we'll get to talking about news, what we've been watching, perhaps a small interrogation,
Possibly.
and then X-Men.
All right.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out the Untold Podcast, which is a speculative fiction podcast using the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way. Check out the Untold Podcast at theuntoldpodcast.com to listen and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Melanie Dubois.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast, plus reviews and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
So, guys, I have a question for both of y'all.
What have you been watching?
We'll start with Jim.
Oh, wow. What have I been watching? Movies or everything?
Everything.
Yeah, anything.
Oh, gosh. Everything is the answer. I just watched All Rise. It's a TV show. It's pretty good. It's a court show. I watched, let's see. I just caught up on The Mandalorian
Nice.
for the season, which is always great and a must watch. Probably the best thing in Star Wars. Let's see. I'm up to date on all the Marvel movies, and I watch a lot of random TV when I get the opportunity to. So I spend a lot of time on Hulu, and just a little bit of everything. I mean, as far as animated stuff, what have I watched recently? I think I watched something. X-Men stuff. I do watch that from time to time, and I'm trying to catch up on that so I can. When the new season comes out, I'll be ready for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Admittedly, that might be part of the reason we're going through it on the animated series.
I had a feeling.
Jacob?
All right. So I started watching a film in which I know me and Jim watched in theaters years ago, Batman and Robin.
Fun movie.
As in the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Yeah, everyone freeze.
Batman.
Have you ever heard the proverb, revenge is a dish best served cold? Well, put on your Sunday finest. It's time to feast. That's not a good Arnold impression. I'm sorry.
I watched it on HBO Max because I have the DVD somewhere. I just can't find it. So I'm watching this film, and I know oh my gosh, I couldn't get through 15 minutes of this film. I mean, I'm sad to say, but I tried watching it and it's like, oh my gosh.
So you didn't even get to Uma?
No, I barely got to her. Be like, she was on screen. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I know some people love Batman and Robin. I get it.
I like it, but not for the reason the director wants me to.
Yeah.
It's a throwback.
Huh?
It's a throwback to the Adam West style, which is what's great. It's kind of corny and fun.
But mostly it's just, oh, look at them being so stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, it's still the best Bane we have. I mean, the best movie with Bane in it from all the live action.
Yeah, that's the
Saying.
You know
Yeah,
as well as I
debatable.
do that Dark Knight Returns literally lifts a plot point from Batman the movie 1966.
Yeah, the Dark Knight Rises is garbage.
But anyway.
Anyways, that's neither here or there. So to cleanse my palate, there again, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this film again. But there again, be like, I remember watching this in the theaters. It's like, oh, okay, that was a pretty good film. That was an okay film. And then watching this time, I'm like, no, sorry, Schumacher. I'm going to walk off for a little while. Thank you very much. But so I decided to there again. This was a show that I watched when I was a late teenager. Inuyasha.
It's a good show.
Sit, boy.
Don't do that. Either or.
Are you watching on Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
See, the problem with Netflix is they only have the first 2 seasons on there.
No, they have up to I think season 6 now.
And I think they're all on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could watch them all on Hulu. I knew, but commercials unless you pay for the extra. But I knew on Netflix I rewatched the first 2 seasons, but that was all they had. And it's been about a year ago.
Like season 5 and 6, I believe. I
Nice.
could be wrong, but it's up to 5 and 6, 5 or 6. But yeah, really enjoy the storytelling. It's a really, really good story.
You're trying to catch up so you can watch Princess Half Demon, aren't you?
No.
You don't know what that is.
I know what it is. It's a sequel to the series. But I just like I've seen previews to this and it's like, okay. All right. But I was like, okay, I want to watch some Inuyasha. I liked Inuyasha when it was on. Why not rewatch it?
Fair enough. And if Francisco is listening, yes, that is red robe and cat ears. But moving on.
You're welcome, Roy. But yeah, that is all I've been watching as far as I can remember. I might think of something like, oh yeah, watch this, but that's all I can think of right now.
I saw Creed 3 in theaters, which was pretty good.
How was that?
Oh, nice.
It was good. I think they got a little artsy at one point, but in general, it's a solid film. Yeah, I mean, and I did see Ant-Man, which I guess also included Kang in it, which is the guy who plays Creed. I can't think of his name all of a sudden, even though he's in the news right now. But
I can't remember his name either.
Yeah,
I'm drawing a blank. I know his name. I just can't think of it. I'm going to have to look it up in a second. Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's a very good actor, and he's really good in Creed 3 and in Ant-Man, if you haven't seen it, the new one, Quantumanium. Very good movie. So
It's a good movie. I have issues with it. It's not as good as the first 2 Ant-Man movies, but it's good for what it is.
yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest problems I feel with a lot of people's rating of Marvel films is they expect everything to be the crazy level we got to with like Endgame and stuff.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's an impossible thing to keep at all times. I think, especially since they're building back up to some of that stuff.
Yeah,
I think we're going to get there. I think it takes time, and I know a lot of people don't love all the shows, but I really do love all the shows.
My primary issue with Quantumania was that the first 2 Ant-Man movies were both heist films.
Mm-hmm.
This was not a heist film.
Yeah, it was not.
That's my biggest issue. And plus, I really don't like how they did MODOK, but that's just a personal thing.
I think they could have just shown his face a little less.
Yes, if they had just kept the metal face, I would have been fine with it.
And then I think they should have shown his face because I think it's necessary to the character. But I also didn't like the way he ended as a character. I felt like it wasn't a great way for the character concept. I don't want to get into it too much.
Organism designed only for killing, he didn't really stay that way at the end.
They were trying, again, I don't know. I thought it wasn't bad. For MODOK, I'll give it points just for even trying it and doing what they did with it. It was close enough for me. It was a throwback.
It wasn't the worst special effect they'd done.
My least favorite part is when a certain Ghostbuster showed up. I really didn't like him in the film. I thought he was
underused.
Yeah. Well, Bill Murray is kind of a weird guy.
Yes.
And I don't know if he phoned it in or not, but I didn't like his performance. But it could just be because he comes off kind of as an so.
Well, granted, I still haven't seen the newest Ghostbusters film. And so I don't know if he's in that. He may act differently there because he should still be Peter Venkman in that.
He's in it.
But admittedly, Bill Murray, I feel, has been phoning performances in since like the mid '90s.
I mean, I loved him in Zombieland. That was good.
I hadn't seen Zombieland.
Yeah. Also,
Oh
Bill
my!
Murray's... Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, you should watch Zombieland. I haven't seen the sequel, sadly.
Zombieland yet?
Oh my gosh, both of you guys! It's literally so good.
I know.
It's got Emma Stone in it, and which is always a reason to watch. She's good in everything but La La Land. So anyway,
like La La Land, I think
La La Land is the worst musical I've seen in my adult life.
I'm assuming I am thinking of the right musical because there were two that came out around that same time, and I only saw one of them, and I don't remember which one it was.
Well, it's her and Mysterio. What's his name?
No,
Gosling.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling. That's
Ryan
what. Not Mysterio. Ryan Gosling, the other guy.
Ryan Gosling. I was like, wait.
One of those. I interchange those two all the time.
Yeah, I got you. Fair. Fair.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
I also watched a superhero movie this week in a theater.
Really?
Yes. Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Ah.
Oh, I'm hoping to see that soon.
It's not bad. It's not great.
I've heard better than the first one by some people.
It was a very fun superhero movie.
Mhm.
It was. Shazam has always been kind of the most Marvel-ish of the DC films.
Yeah.
His name is Captain Marvel, after all.
True, and they actually make a great reference to that.
Oh,
in the film,
I'm
but and it is still very much DC's Power Rangers, just like the first one was.
Yeah.
But there's just a couple of things that's like they could have tightened that up a little better, that sort of thing. Nothing too crazy. It was a fun time in the theater. I can say that, but it was an okay film.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the same issues I have with most DC films, in that it's some degree trying to take itself entirely too seriously.
Yeah, they do that.
That's been my main issue with like most of the DC films since the 90s.
Why so serious?
When it's done right, it's fine.
Right.
But most of the time, it's like we're serious because we're not Marvel, not because we actually have a decent story.
Very
to tell.
true. Very true.
Anyway.
So
along with that, of course, I've been watching my normal stuff. I'm caught up on Mandalorian. I watched another episode of Bad Batch, so I'm 2 episodes into that now. Of course, I'm still working my way through Gekiso Sentai Car Ranger.
Are you on season 1 of Bad Batch or season 2?
I'm on season 1. I'm literally on just watched the second episode.
Yeah, I'm behind on that one, but I haven't I've watched more than you, but I'm behind on it too.
The only reason I'm only this far is I held back on watching Bad Batch until I finished Clone Wars, and I didn't finish that till 2 weeks ago. So,
Have you watched Rebels?
I have watched most of Rebels, but I did not watch the last season. And basically, my thought was I'm just going to watch from chronologically up and all the other stuff until I'm recaught back up. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, The Mandalorian touches on a lot of stuff in that show, so
yeah, and I know I'm spoiled a little on some of that at this point, but that's just the risk you take. Plus, I still haven't watched Andor yet, so.
Oh well, I have my own opinions on that one. Jacob, are you watching The Mandalorian?
I've seen.
I have been prodding him, but no.
What's okay? So I have two brothers that don't watch The Mandalorian.
Oh,
It's worse than that, Jim. He has still not watched Book of Boba Fett.
No,
Okay, so Jacob is behind. Sure, I'll give him a little more leniency. Daniel hasn't watched Endgame.
Yes, I know.
Well, that's not as bad as our old buddy Roy.
Oh gosh,
he at least has watched Endgame.
Yes. Well, to my defense, I have watched The Mandalorian, or I think it was what Drew called it.
I call the whole series Grogu and Friends.
So I've watched up to season 2. I have not seen Book of Boba Fett.
Did you just say Boba Fett?
You should draw that, Jacob. Boba Fett's little boba drinks.
I'm still waiting for him to do Bubba Fett, which is what he was calling
I'm
it
trying
before.
not to here.
It's Boba, like
Yeah,
the tea,
Boba. Yes, Boba Fett.
like the tea.
Yes, not a clown. Wow.
Anyway, yeah, I've been watching through those. I've watched a little bit more of the original Ultraman show. Other than that, that's about what I've been watching. Anyway, and of course we were guest hosting Monday night on a podcast.
That's right.
That won't come out for a while because Nate's behind.
Of course.
On his release schedule, which is fine.
Yeah, it happens.
Anyway, y'all got anything else before we jump into the news?
All right, is anyone else going to go see Dungeons and Dragons this weekend?
I'm actually going to see it tomorrow.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Just so I can see how weird it is. All right. Going into the news.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Deela. And so into this week's news, Disney Pixar revealed their newest trailer for the upcoming original anime feature Elemental, including the districts of air, earth, water, and all we got to add one more to make Captain Planet here.
Actually, I was just thinking everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
But no, so this movie will be coming out with a 3D screening option on June 16, 2023. So speaking of trailer releases, Universal Pictures and DreamWorks Animation unveiled the title and full cast for another Trolls movie.
Why?
This movie being this the title of this movie being Trolls Band Together.
We already had a world tour. Why do we have another band thing?
Because it's like boy band related.
Oh, good night.
Yeah, go watch the trailer if you haven't seen it. It's Justin Timberlake, because obviously he's originally from NSYNC, and it's literally trying to get the band back together.
And Justin Timberlake is like the executive producer on this series.
That is true. That is true.
Annoyingly.
So this film is to be released. This third outing of this popular franchise will be released on November 17th of this year. Unless there's anything else, I couldn't find anything.
Oh, well, I have something.
Okay, what's that?
I got this from AnimeNewsNetwork.com. The original live-action film cast returns for Netflix's Scott Pilgrim anime series.
Yes.
Say what?
Yes.
Okay.
You've got the whole cast is returning for an anime series based on Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I'm assuming it's going to be more based on the original comic.
Okay. So that kind of ties back in with Movie of the Week podcast.
Kinda, yes. Because when they the last book wasn't out when they were making the movie.
Yes.
So that's why it has a different ending.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm curious to see how they redo it assuming they do a more telling like the original comic book.
I'm
curious if that's what they're doing.
I didn't realize they were doing an anime over that.
I didn't see it till I think I saw it yesterday. Was when I saw that.
So yeah, if that's everything, unless Jim has something we don't know.
Futurama's coming back
again.
Did you hear about that?
Yes.
With Hulu?
No, I didn't hear about that.
It's already had 3 good endings. It doesn't need to come back.
Well, I mean, everybody likes Fry and Bender and Leela and everybody. So I mean, it's a good show.
But I mean, it's every time they've brought it back, they've made the show worse.
Well, still, but people want it back. If we have to watch, if Family Guy keeps coming out and The Simpsons keeps coming along, I mean, why not?
I mean, they're good.
I don't know if they're better than it. So
I'm just saying, Futurama was good enough to be allowed to retire. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
They're also supposed to be bringing back King of the Hill for some reason.
Yeah.
That I don't know, but I'm anti-propane, so that could be why I don't watch that show.
Yeah, you did kind of always impress me as a charcoal guy.
Yeah, I am. I'm charcoal or real wood. It's the only way to go.
I agree with this.
And be like, apparently he's like he's worthy enough to pick up Mjolnir.
Absolutely, I'm worthy enough. I'm a good dude. So
anyway,
this beard gives me the ability. It's a righteous.
For those of you in the audio portion, Jim has found one of Jacob's toys.
Yeah, that's true. I'm playing with his Mjolnir.
Anyway, I think it's time. Do you have interrogation questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I want to make sure. Interrogation.
I like that.
That's the first time he's actually gotten to hear that.
Oh my gosh.
Because the thing messed up on us when Nate was on here last and he couldn't hear it.
Oh my gosh. So yes, as for normal, our listeners know that whenever we have a new guest come on or a guest come on in period, we do interrogation or ask them a bunch of questions about animation. So Jim, being my brother, Jim Bob, whatever we want to call him. Do you remember the first animated film you watched in theaters?
Land Before Time.
Of course.
I would like to think y'all both knew that.
Yeah, but it was more be like he could have remembered something else or something like that.
That's true.
But that's definitely the first one I remember. Yeah, and that was the first one we went to. I'm fairly certain.
So here's a question that I remember talking to our father about, and it was a movie that I remember watching tremendously for years. And our father saying no, be like, we never bought that movie. I wouldn't have bought that movie at all. So just a clarification, Jim. Do you remember watching or you were having The Last Unicorn?
Oh yeah, we had The Last Unicorn.
Thank you.
We had it in VHS. I think I got rid of it about 6 years ago. Yeah. Probably. I assume it may have been gone before then, but when I cleared out the VHS tapes last time, I think that was. I don't remember if it was in there or not, but we owned it and we watched it a lot because I remember I got to rewatch part of it when I was substitute teaching. I got to rewatch the first half about 6 times. So,
yeah, there again for our listeners and our visual viewers, you can go back to we've already reviewed The Last Unicorn. So go back.
Yes, we reviewed The Last Unicorn about 2 years ago.
No,
it's got a lot of great D&D opportunities. I'm just saying as a DM watching that. Yeah.
Admittedly, this voice doesn't work if I don't have the glass to talk into to make it echo.
Okay, breathe, Jacob, breathe. So, what was your favorite cartoon growing up? And it cannot be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, that's unfair. Honestly, it's a tough one because as much as I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and there's a couple that I have to throw into the ring, and obviously Transformers is one of them. Even though I feel like the plot for that show was weaker than most, I mean, really, probably Batman the Animated Series. I mean, if we talk about one that defined a lot of, it's either that or Spider-Man. The '90s, those two shows probably are the really what made me interested in animated stuff, and definitely what got me way more into comic books were those than anything else.
So not the real Ghostbusters.
No.
Okay.
Real Ghostbusters is good, but I think we had like a VHS tape that had like the Valhalla episode and like the Valkyries or something, and then like another one. I think I only saw a few episodes of that. We didn't get to watch it a lot. I loved. We did get to watch. We'd go to. It wasn't Blockbuster. It was Town and Country Video, I think. Or even before then, we went to another couple of places. But we used to rent. My parents would rent like the 1960s Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then we would rent random stuff. One of the shows I wanted to love a lot and never got to see any more of was Defenders of the Earth.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
And crap, I just forgot the name of the show. The anime with we had an anime tape. It's and I usually can bring it up in my head right away. The first episode is amazing. It holds up afterwards. But Jacob, you know what I'm talking about. Robotech. Thank you.
Yeah.
First episode of Robotech is fire. Even now, watching it, it's still great, but it kind of falls off after that when I went back and rewatched it as an adult. But the first one's still great. We had a tape with that.
I was the exact same way. I mean,
Yeah.
I started because I remember watching that first tape because I think we got it from Brian, I believe.
Might have been, but it had that, and I think it either had a Hot Wheels show or Defenders of the Earth.
Hot Wheels.
One of those two. Yeah.
Hot Wheels Adventure. I actually looked it up.
Yeah.
Snow Adventure.
And then Dino Riders, I think, was one I always wanted more of. But
yeah.
But then there's Biker Mice from Mars if we want to get a little later.
Oh my gosh.
But definitely Batman and Spider-Man probably really, as far as defining things, Transformers and Ninja Turtles from the 80s. So.
Oh, okay. So being the comic book nerd you are, and being someone being my younger brother, this man has a vast, very, very vast comic collection. Very vast.
You're gonna put me on the spot, and I'm gonna be like, I don't remember, Jacob.
No, but I'm more referring to animation. So out of the DC animated movies, I don't know what that universe is called.
There's 51 of them, by the way, in the original movies.
That means they can only do one more, and then they have to stop because of DC law.
Well, okay, so I'm actually looking at revamping Movie of the Week podcast, and one of the things I want to do is I want to do a side series that's the 52 weeks of the DC films, literally throwing out all of them in one year, because the next one's coming out in the summer, and I'm actually a little behind. I haven't watched all of them, but I own almost all of them already, and HBO Max has most of them. But there's about to be 52. So,
all right. So out of all those 52 movies, the ones you have watched, which one is your favorite?
That's a hard question.
Exactly. Choose, my friend, wisely.
Because there are so many. Because part of me wants to throw out one that's not part of that series, but like Mask of the Phantasm. Because of talk about something that defines you as a child. It was such a good film. There were a few that were duds. The Killing Joke, the second half, is still fantastic. First half, maybe garbage. God, I don't even know. Probably like Justice League War or Batman Doom, which is a really good one. Batman Doom, because it's all about, if you haven't seen it, it's basically about Batman and his planning contingencies for everybody, and then those getting used. It's really phenomenal. But they do a really good job of linking in basically New 52 comics, the series from the New 52 into those eventually. And it's so much good stuff. They have so many great movies, and there's, like I said, I'm quite a bit behind, and there are so many I'm looking forward to watching. I just have to sit down and do it. It's literally the only films I buy brand new with any regularity at all. I order them before they come out because I want them to keep making them, because it's the only thing DC can make very well. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we did Batman: The Long Halloween last year.
I still haven't seen that one.
Year before last, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was year before last.
Yeah, I own both. I have not seen them.
Oh, okay. They're good. They're
okay.
They're good in ways. They're different from the comic, far as I understand.
Yeah.
But
while it's trying to do the whole Batman animated series vibe, it doesn't quite get there because you can tell it's digitally animated.
True. So when it comes to anime, so what is the series that you think of first when you think anime?
Well, okay, so as far as the series goes, it's Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z / Dragon Ball Super.
No GT love here?
No GT love.
No GT love. I only saw like the first couple episodes of GT. I just wasn't into it. Between the mustache and everything else,
I watched half of the first season of GT, and I was like, okay, I have lost all sense of respect for what they were doing at this time.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, as far as movies and stuff, I think Miyazaki is amazing.
Agreed.
And I love so much of his work. When with the Video Store Rejects, we went through and watched all and talked about all of his films, and they're all really good. I think there's the ones most people talk about are definitely not my favorites, but there's
so what is your
just so many
of the Miyazakis.
My favorite? Let me think of the name of it. I'm gonna look real quick.
I mean, you can describe it. We can probably tell it to you.
I think it's first
starts
one.
with Grave or Firefly. We might have an issue.
That's not Miyazaki.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's Isao Takahata.
That's right.
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta look for the name. I mean, I like a lot of them. Like Totoro is really good.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite though is Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind.
Okay,
that's a good one.
Yeah,
I personally think I prefer Mononoke to that, but I get it.
Yeah, true.
I think Mononoke and Spirited Away are extremely overrated and are not. Honestly, I think they're mid films for that whole series. Howl's Floating Castle is better. Totoro's better. Castle in the Sky, maybe not, but
I loved Castle in the Sky.
It's good, but I don't know if it's better than them. Yeah. There's so many good films there, though. The Wind Rises. Okay. Ponyo is like The Little Mermaid. It's kind of good. Maybe better in some way.
That one yet.
I don't remember if that's this year or next year.
Okay.
I'll have to look.
Okay. So one last question.
Yeah.
So reaching back into your childhood, the animated movies that we watched as children, one that you have not watched since you were a child and you would want to go back and revisit, which one would that be? Animated films.
Animated films. I'm trying to think of one I haven't watched. Well, okay, so like I know I watched The Little Mermaid as a kid.
Mm-hmm, you did.
And I have not seen it since. I know I watched parts of all the other old Disney princess films, and I have not watched them since. Again, I would say The Last Unicorn, but I have watched the first half since I was an adult. I have not finished it, but that would be the one I would say otherwise. Otherwise, it's probably The Little Mermaid, just because I would like to see how bad it actually is.
Surprisingly not that bad.
No, it's not really that bad.
Yeah. I mean, I love Ursula, so you know.
Of course,
she's very cool.
You definitely have to watch it before you torture yourself with the new film. And I say torture not in the idea that the new live-action Little Mermaid film will be bad. It's just Disney hasn't had a good track record with their live-action films.
Well, Aladdin was good. It wasn't better than the original, but it was good.
True. I liked the Jungle Book.
I didn't watch the new Jungle Book. I watched the old live-action Jungle Book.
Yeah, I mean the new one was good, but primarily I enjoyed it because hearing Christopher Walken try to sing "Friend Like Me," was more like him talking rhythmically.
Oh, funny.
I kind of have a personal. I don't want to watch them because they were so great to begin with. I had to watch Aladdin because it's my favorite Disney film. I really wish they would do a Return to Jafar live action. That would be fun.
Interesting.
There are plans. They're going to do a sequel to it at some point.
Yeah, as long as they stick to very much Return to Jafar, I'd
have to be inspired by, because I don't think that movie you would make a good live action film. You'd have to really revamp it. Yeah. Especially it wouldn't really follow where the live action Aladdin finished.
True.
Because a genie is not a genie anymore.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. Like Disney is special in their in what they do. Like their live action, not live action Lion King. I couldn't watch it because why am I going to watch a digital version of a digital movie that was good? It seemed silly.
Not to mention they ruined Be Prepared.
Oh my gosh, dude! You should have seen it in theaters. We were sitting in the theaters. Be Prepared comes up, and Drew's like, "I'm gonna walk out of this theater."
It's my favorite song of the
agreed.
That thing. And it's like, A, it's only half of it. B, completely changed all the lyrics, and C, it's like they could have left it out, and now it would have been better.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, cool. So I think, unless you have something else, Jim.
No, that's, I mean, as far as interrogations, I mean, I guess I don't have anything else to throw at that question.
All right. Good deal.
So let's just jump into X-Men then, shall we?
Previously on X-Men.
Meet a sulky, over-funky, kinda hunky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The The Marvel superheroes have arrived. X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, it's the day. X-Men, X-Men, come and go.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
Alrighty.
I still love that theme.
Well, there's a clear winner in all those songs, and it is the last
Yes,
one.
it's Ron Wasserman. Yes. The man who wrote Go-Go Power Rangers wrote that too, and that's why it's great.
Exactly.
Anywho, first episode of tonight, A Rogue's Tale, which first aired on January 8th, 1994, directed by Larry Houston and written by Marty Eisenberg and Robert N. Skier. In this episode, Mr. Sinister sends Mystique to destroy the X-Men, while Professor X is lost in the Savage Land as he has been all season. Rogue starts having painful visions of a mysterious woman, and they're literally driving her crazy when the mysterious woman possesses Rogue's body. Unknown to the X-Men, the mystery woman holds some dark secrets to Rogue's past before she joined the X-Men. Guest cast for this one includes Chris Britton as Mr. Sinister, aka Nathaniel Essex, Robert Kalt as the Blob, aka Frederick Dukes, Rod Coneybear as Avalanche, Jennifer Dale as Mystique, aka Raven Darkholme, Graham Haley as Pyro, aka St. John Allardyce, and Roscoe Hanford as Ms. Marvel, aka Carol Danvers. Yes, Ms. Marvel, not Captain Marvel. That she didn't become Captain Marvel until the 2000s or 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in this episode, we have the debut, of course, of Miss Marvel and slash Carol Danvers. And also at the farmer's market, a vendor who appears to be selling lemonade looks a lot like Snake Plissken from the Escape From movies.
I didn't even realize that.
So yeah, what are y'all's thoughts on this episode? Jim, why don't you start out?
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Ms. Marvel from way back. You know, the costume they use is very much iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a big thing for me as a kid, like watching this episode. I mean, I think it's where I started to appreciate Carol Danvers anyway. It was just a little after this, learning more about that. But this is such an iconic moment for the character as far as in X-Men, her gaining the abilities, you know, getting to see that flashback and learning more about that connection that she makes with Carol Danvers in order to take her powers. You know, I think it's a really interesting episode. We do get to see more of the continued torture of Rogue, you know, with her powers and whatnot, and also getting that dynamic between her and Mystique is a good touch. So it's nice to see. It's a classic episode. It's really a good one. I'm really glad I get to talk about this one. It's classic.
Yeah, I agree. What I find interesting is I think this is while we've had cameos from non-mutant Marvel superheroes in the show, but previous to this is the first time one actually had a major role in the story.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that in there. This is one of the stories I think I mostly remembered from when I was a kid, because I remembered Miss Marvel showing up. I remember Rogue having this whole deal where that's how she got her powers, was from her power of flight, and her super strength was from another superhero who I didn't know it was Miss Marvel at the time. So yeah, this is one of the ones I've been looking forward to watching when we started this. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode. Not strangely enough, as much as I enjoyed it, there's not a lot to talk about because it's very straightforward. But it is still a very sad tale, giving us more history of Rogue's backstory, which we had not had so far.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I have liked about the season is we've had so many
character centric stories instead of just the whole team. Though at some point I would like Professor X to get back to the team, because that's kind of weird,
right?
Having your 2 minutes out in the Savage Lands and then they don't show back up again until the next episode. But anyway,
yeah, this episode I remember very clearly, very definedly watching this episode as a kid, and I was like, wow, this is really cool, because they did this dynamic of be like the inner turmoil, the inner torture of Rogue as a character, and the understanding be like where she got her powers from, her connection with Mystique, and all the callbacks be like they talk about like, oh, we saw you on your island, and this idea of Carol Danvers, aka Miss Marvel, and I enjoy the story definitely when they go into the Rogue's like her deepest thoughts, where Rogue is had her memory purged, and so she's having to relive all this trauma from her life, from her younger life, and it's a really tragic story you see, and it gives almost this glimmer of hope when Rogue goes to see Carol in the hospital, and Carol apparently obviously hasn't had visitors in years, and
and
it's that
you
little
see
glimmer.
That one little brainwave hit and the smile. It's
a
like
little smirk, or something like that. But it was really touching, and I do enjoy these character centric stories. Definitely when you get a character like Rogue, and this season has definitely started fleshing out who these characters are.
Yes,
like obviously with Gambit and Storm, we got a lot of Storm. In season one,
including her strange ability to change skin tones between 2 episodes.
That was weird. That was an odd little clip, and I was like, what the world? But either or, that's neither here nor there. But this episode is so iconic, and when I realized the episode, just like YouTube said before, it's like when I realized what the episode was, I was like, oh, I love this episode. And especially I don't remember the next episode so well, but I remember this episode so well. But yeah, it's a great episode. Oh my gosh, yeah, iconic.
I really actually enjoy the way they do the Xavier and Magneto. I was trying to think of his name, Magnus.
Magnus is what they keep calling him in this, because that's the name he was going by at the time.
But yeah, I love the way they actually do the little bit, kind of working it through, kind of spreading the big story out throughout the whole season. Versus, I mean, they could have made more content, I guess, for it, but it gives us a great opportunity to get these backstories, which, for if you weren't a big comic fan at the time, and I wasn't at the time when I'm watching this, it gives you a lot of insight into what's going on. Now, is it all 100% accurate to the comics? No, but it does a really good job of staying pretty true to most of it, at least as far as how the characters exist and work.
The one thing that still confuses me, though, is that every once in a while they'll show that Carol Danvers almost as in a monstrous form, and I never understood what that was about. I'm sure it's got to be a throwback to something in the comic book history that I don't know.
I was just looking at it, like I was watching it, and I was thinking she looks very Skrull almost in that. Yeah. But she's Kree, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know.
And she's not 100% Kree, even.
Right. She's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I'm not certain. I would love to look it up because it feels familiar when I was watching. I was like, I kind of feel like I know that from somewhere else. But I mean, she does, like, after she loses her power, she becomes binary, and then she becomes Warbird later, and she does go through a lot of character change after losing her power. But I don't know. I don't recognize the monstrous form.
Oh, okay. So again, like an iconic film episode like this, Rogue's Tale, be like I love to watch variant comics with Eris Kionis on YouTube, and like he points out the fact to be like when we were younger, it wasn't, comics weren't a big thing, but it was these shows like X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, the animated series, and so on and so forth, got our imaginations rolling and got a lot of us into comics, or in some cases for me, more getting into comics for the art.
Well, what's funny is literally the 90s is this giant explosion of Marvel comics in so many ways. That's when we start seeing huge numbers of issues being printed. because I mean, in about 1990s, when you get the Spider-Man Spider-Man itself, Spider-Man relaunch, you get the X-Men series launching right about 91, I think it was.
Amazing Jim Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Jim Lee, and you get the artist explosion that comes along with that, which leads to all the third-party companies, Image, etc. Because of that, but we get a change in the dynamic in the comics. These shows are created based on a lot of that because there's a new interest there, and then they see the potential for the toys, which is what cartoons are for in that era. And but as opposed to a lot of the 80s, we get these really deep stories that even touch on a lot of great issues that we don't see in previous cartoons. Like we see a lot more real issues getting brought up which we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially in the next one.
Yeah, in the next one. So, but that's X-Men in general, though. That's the whole point of X-Men.
True.
Yeah.
Speaking of the next episode, you ready to move on to it?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, next episode, Beauty and the Beast, which aired on January 15th, 1994, directed by Larry Houston and written by Stephanie Matheson. In this episode, the Friends of Humanity attack a hospital for the blind that Beast is working at, and Wolverine plans on tearing them apart from the inside. Beast and one of his blind patients, Carly, fall in love together, but Carly's father is a mutant hater and won't stand to see them associating with each other. When the Friends of Humanity kidnap Carly for associating with a mutant, Wolverine, Beast, and the Friends of Humanity come full circle. Meanwhile, in the Savage Land, Xavier and Magneto are struggling to survive. Guest cast for this one includes David Hemblin as Magneto.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Peter McCowett as Amphibious, and John Stalker as Graydon Creed Jr. Got to be specific.
Yes. Hey, Junior.
Yeah. Wolverine says his name is John Logan. Wolverine, for the longest time, thought his name was Logan due to past memories. A lot were fake and implanted in his head by Weapon X. His real name was revealed to be James Howlett in the comics. In this episode, we do see the debut of Amphibious in the Savage Land. When Wolverine infiltrates the Friends of Humanity headquarters, he was wearing a hat similar to the Major League Baseball team Oakland Athletics, but with different colors. In this comic, Sabretooth's real name is Victor Creed. It was changed to Graydon Creed Sr. for the series in order to avoid any ambiguity regarding Graydon Jr.'s parentage. Wolverine hints for the first time in the series that Creed is the son of Sabretooth, which he proves to be true. So what are y'all's thoughts on this one, Jim?
I think this is just a classic X-Men story dealing with bigotry and racism, which is literally what the X-Men is founded on. The whole concept of people who are different having to struggle and people not accepting people with differences. It's something we've always struggled with as a society in different eras through history and even today. And so that's why the X-Men has always been popular. In this episode, it really shows that even when people are trying to help, if they're different, a lot of people just can't handle that and are unwilling to accept it. And I mean, in this case, we've got Dr. Hank McCoy doing what he does, helping somebody out. In fact, healing them of blindness. And the dad won't even let him around because even though he's the doctor who came up with the procedure to do it. So it's wild. I do love the Sabretooth throwback. I mean, story arc with his son in there. Wolverine getting to deal with that. We get a little more of the Wolverine Sabretooth, which is always a great thing. I really wish we had a fight with Sabretooth just because anytime that makes them better. So, but yeah, it's classic. It's iconic. It's very much what we expect with X-Men as a whole. And it does it in a way, it's a well done story. I mean, it shows the possibility for redemption. It shows, that eventually sometimes it shows the fact that more often than not, the time at which a person will become aware of how wrong they are is when it's turned on something or someone they care about. So, like in this case with Beast having to go off and save the guy's daughter. It's when he finally goes, okay, well, these may not all be monsters after all. Sometimes you have, I mean, it's classic, just like the statement, well, if it was your daughter, is often the way a lot of people identify to understanding, women's issues or any number of things. Sometimes it's just, you have to find that connection, because a lot of people don't have empathy for people they're not connected to.
Right.
So
I think, if I'm not mistaken, though, this is the first real beast-centric episode we've had. Because for the most part throughout season 1, he wasn't even really in the show, except for a couple instances here and there. And he's not really done anything much in season 2 until this episode, outside of hanging out with the president. So I thought that look into his him having a decent story in here, I actually really did like. I love how Wolverine and Beast are flipped at the end, where it's Beast rampaging and Wolverine's actually making the smart plan.
Yes,
that was perfect. That was a great flip on what we're used to seeing.
Yes.
And I knew we were going to have to come to heads with the Friends of Humanity since they first showed up, because good night, are these ever the biggest bunch of rednecks?
Right.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a fun episode. And it's very much, like you said, a very classic X-Men story. And it was an enjoyable one to watch. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
I be like, there again, we do get more of a beast-centric story, and there again, with season 2, you're getting more and more of that. I do love that they bring back the Friends of Humanity, which I don't like this group. Let me get that straight. And you get this idea, if I can talk, the run of bigotry and hatred.
Yes.
Or something maybe you don't understand, or you have a pure just hatred of, which to hate something just because it's there is absolutely insanely stupid. Beyond belief, to hate something just because, to quote Creed from another episode, when he's talking to Jubilee, because you were born,
that's why we hate you.
That's why we hate you, which is such a
granted, I think Graydon Creed Jr. also has daddy issues.
He does, but he has extreme terrible.
A little. I mean,
it's like his dad's fuzzy and he's big and he growls.
I mean, I can't blame him for having daddy issues. If Sabretooth was my dad, I would probably have issues too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would hate everyone who's a mutant, but I mean, I would probably hate him at least. He's kind of horrible.
Yeah, he's kind of a terrible person. But
which does bring up an interesting thing I don't think I ever considered, and that is that a mutant can have a normal human kid.
Yeah.
Which is not something I think ever comes up or doesn't come up that often.
Normal. I love that. It's like when the big revelation comes, which obviously we knew was coming.
I'm not his son. I'm normal.
Yeah.
He's the freak.
It's like that kind of goes against what you said. It's like anyone who associates with them.
Yeah.
You are associated with one of the bigger ones.
Yeah. And I love the point when obviously, Creed is like his revelation has been his heritage has been blown, and all of his little terrible little followers start walking away from him because oh, you're tainted. You have association with mutants, and it's just this nice little twist. And then you get the scene where it's what's the girl's name?
Carly.
Yeah, Carly and Beast, they get their little time alone. The father shows up and he shakes Beast's hand. It's like, okay, that's a start. Yeah, you can disagree with somebody, but you can still be friends with them.
Yeah.
And or what have you.
Something I think a lot of people forget in this modern day and age.
Sure. Yes, in some capacities. So yeah, I love this episode. It really, with a lot of with the points that Jim brought up, that Drew brought up, it is a really, really good episode. And yeah, I'm looking for more really good storytelling through the series.
All righty. We got anything else to add before we wrap up?
No, I think the thing about this episode is, again, it's that classic iconic X-Men story. It literally touches all those points you want to see. It is great that we get to see a Beast story in the series at that point. And like you said, I love that season 2 is doing that. It gives you that building the characters, through, as opposed to just like a little bit. And because most of these episodes are built around fighting the bad guy, seeing what's happening, just like the comics did. But giving them those individual moments is really nice. So it does they do a good job on building it. That's why it's one of the great animated series of the 90s.
Agreed. And also the fact to be like, I think you pointed out where it was like Jubilee says, be like, like what's going on? Because Logan's using his head and Beast is going berserk. Because I love that moment where I want to call her Jody, but she's not Jody.
Jean Grey?
No, the girl.
Carly. Jubilee?
No. Carly. Thank you. Yeah,
Carly. We both know someone named Carly. You ought to be able to figure this out.
Yeah, I know. Again, I am terrible with names, so my apologies. So when Carly's kidnapped and you get this, be like Beast loses it. The guy who's calm and collected, the scientist, and he loses it because he loves this girl so much. And it's just like you see a completely different side of the Beast. Like you get to see the Beast rather than Hank McCoy.
Yeah.
And I love that. Because there again, it's building character-centric stories and it's dealing with different issues that be like we're relevant in the past, relevant then, and relevant now. And it's beautiful storytelling. I love it.
Even if it's cheesy.
Oh yeah, it's cheesy, but it's so good.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it is.
And then you get the scene.
Embrace the cheese. It's Gouda for you.
Yeah. Or the scene where Logan walks in on Creed's interrogation of Carly, and it's just like, how dare you walk in here? You don't have the authority.
What gives you the right? Shink. This gives me all the rights I need.
Yeah, 3 pointy adamantium claws putting in your chin. So yeah, that's it.
All right. Since the season finale of season 2 is a 2-parter, we are only doing 1 episode next week so that we don't have to split episodes. So next week we are going our X-Men, or not next week, in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to be reviewing Mojo Vision.
I vaguely remember this episode.
I don't remember this episode, and I'm worried after I read the synopsis on this one.
Well, if you're trying to remember, it's a long shot. Thank you. I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you got it.
Anyway, Jim, why don't you tell us where we can find you at?
Well, you can find me on Facebook as Passive Creative. You can find me on Twitter as Passive Creative, and on Instagram I'm Passive Creator. I don't do enough on those half the time, but I'm trying to get back into it. Like I said, I'm trying to revamp some stuff. Speaking of which, I'm hoping to bring back Movie of the Week podcast in a few weeks to a month or two. Just depends. I'm trying to iron out some stuff. I might have some throwback episodes to put in there randomly as well that we worked on that never got put out. I'll probably try to get y'all on for some guest appearances as well. And I'm hopefully going to have, should be next week. I should have my webcomic, the haphazardly thrown together webcomic, should be back up on Webtoons and the other ones I can't think of at the moment. So I'm also on Video Store Rejects, which you can find on Facebook, YouTube, and all over the place. But anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can catch Movie of the Week podcast. It's still out there. There's still stuff if you haven't caught up on it. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome.
I would say with definitely Movie of the Week podcast, it was like with this show, be like you get exposed to different types of media.
Yeah.
Where with Movie of the Week podcast, it was we're reviewing this and we're reviewing like Knives Out, we're reviewing Halloween, we're reviewing
lots of different movies
that maybe like I would never have watched before.
Right.
So it was very much an iconic moment when it came to like cinema in my reviewing career.
Yeah. It's fun. I'll have y'all on. I know you are busy, but I'll still try to get y'all on from time to time. So
we'll be glad to guest host on an episode.
Yep.
Cool. I might even split y'all up. Put you out your comfort zones.
Oh gosh.
That doesn't really put me out of my comfort zone. I was on Henshinmen for 5 weeks.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I reviewed Kamen Rider, the goofiest television show I've ever watched.
Wow.
That's not the same series that you just held up.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So yeah, that's gonna be it for us. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
Oh, and this is Jim.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
Bye, guys.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Duke don't dance with pineapple.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.